Uh, Thank you for joining us. I'm Jano Lieber, MTA Chair and CEO, and I'm here with New York City Transit President Rich Davey, Acting Chief Customer Officer Shanifa Riera. Thank you, Shanifa, for all you do. Senior Vice President of Subways, Demetrius Critchlow, that handsome man right there. And where is the weekend service czar, Jose LaSalle? Hanging out in the back, but come the weekend, he's in the foreground because we have been making weekends rock. Thank you, Jose. And we're also joined by one of our great partners in the New York City Council, Carlina Rivera. Carlina, thank you, thank you. Today's announcement is the kind that we love making. There's going to be more service coming to riders starting this weekend, beginning Saturday as part of the second phase of targeted service enhancements that we announced back in May. Riders on the number 1 and number 6 lines are going to see shorter headways, which is transit speak for the subways coming faster and more frequently. Instead of coming every 8 minutes, trains are scheduled now to come every 6 minutes. It might not seem like much, but when you're standing on a hot platform, those minutes really add up. I want to remind everybody that this is just phase 2 of the subway service expansions and enhancements. There's going to be more coming throughout the year. This has been our plan all along, to put more service that we're committed to on whenever it becomes possible. We've said this whole time that once funding is there, we'd look to expand service outside of weekday peaks. Now, this is an important point. In the rest of the country, as the federal money starts to wind down, transit is looking at a financial crisis. They're talking about cutting service and raising fares dramatically. Look only at BART in San Francisco, for example, or even across the river in New Jersey. But here in New York, thanks to what the governor proposed, and which she prevailed on the legislature to enact in her budget, there is actually not only a balanced budget at the MTA for the next 5 years, but we're able to add more service, more subway frequency. And we are excited to be making good on that commitment. We're moving forward with weekend service enhancements. It's no secret that weekend ridership and all discretionary travel, the weekends, the nights, are rebounding faster to pre-COVID levels, faster than weekday service. The reduction in commuters due to hybrid work is not affecting when people go out, when they have somewhere they want to go, they're choosing to go on transit, and that's pretty exciting. So we want to give more service to folks who are making choices, discretionary choices about how to get where they're going. But people are voting for transit with their feet, with their Omni cards, with their Metro cards, and that's what we want to respond to. One reason they're responding in such great numbers is because the service on the subways, on-time performance is better than it's been in 10 years. Again, credit to Critchlow, credit to Davey, credit to the entire team at New York City Transit. Adding more service is going to help us build on that momentum. And we want to do everything we can to support the city's bounce back, which is going great guns. With that, let me turn it over to Rich Davey for more on how we selected these lines for enhancements and what's coming next. Rich.
Great. Thanks, Jano. Thank you, Jano. And again, as you know, as the chair mentioned, this is about putting our customers first. When we look at our faster, cleaner, safer plan, which we announced last year, one of the pillars of that plan was to have faster and more frequent service. Certainly that's what our customers are telling us, that they would ride the system more frequently on weekdays and weekends in particular, if the wait times were slightly reduced. And so thanks, as Jano said, to the governor and the legislature, they're giving us the resources and the tools to make that happen. Last month we added service in the G, J, and M. Today we're announcing more service on the 1 and the 6 on weekends, and just last week we added midday service on the C line. More to come in December and next year as we hire more crews and bring on more trains to be able to continue to accommodate more service on weekends and nights. But fundamentally, that's our North Star, is to improve customer satisfaction, and we're doing that by adding service. I do also want to give a shout out to Demetrius Critchlow and the Subways team, who have been quietly, and probably not getting enough credit for improving subway service. I should not go unnoted or restate it, as Jano said. The first 6 months of this year was the best subway service we've had in 10 years, and I think before that, they might have been cooking the books a little bit. We are looking at track circuits. We know exactly where trains are and how it's happening, almost 85% over the last 6 months. And Jose LaSalle, our weekends are, I think he said he's now called that at home. Apologies, Jose, we've given you that nickname. But weekend service has been a huge focus of ours as well over the last year. And with his help, the team's help, working with our folks in construction development who need to get work done on the weekends as well, balancing the need to focus on our customers and get that work done, we've also seen our weekend service be among the best it's been ever, thanks to his attention and the 47,000 men and women that work at New York City Transit. We are grateful for their continued work in putting our customers first. Speaking of customers first, I want to introduce my partner in crime and my colleague, Shanifa Rivera, who is working really closely with us in New York City Transit to do a whole bunch of things to put our customers first. Shanifa?
Thank you, Rich. As Rich mentioned, we're super excited about these service enhancement. And Rich, you have to agree that we are one step closer to your North Star today. As a member of the customer team, we want your trip to be easy and hassle-free as possible. So yesterday, we rolled out a new generation of the myMTA app, which consolidates the service alerts as well as schedules. Customers can learn about crowding conditions, elevator outages, all in one place about all agencies. With just one tap, one click, we invite everyone to visit our new site, the beta testing site at mymta.info. We welcome your feedback. We want to hear how we can make the tool better, because it's all about enhancing the customer experience and making sure that you are taking advantage of this great service by getting to point A to point B. So, another wrinkle to this new feature, that customer for the first time can share the location and can get real-time location-based notification, to customize your individual journey. So we will use that information down the line for better trip planning, to when we sit down to talk about these additional service. That information from real time will be used. So we welcome you again. Go to mymta.info, sign up for the beta service, and please share your feedback. With that being said, I will turn it over to Councilmember Carlina Rivera.
Thanks. What a great day. Un día bien especial, bien importante. Para muchas personas en mi distrito, el tren 6 es el único tren a poca distancia de donde viven. So, tener más servicio es un día bien importante, porque cuando tienes menos servicio, trenes con menos frecuencia y está cansada o hace calor, es bien importante tener servicio confiable. Entonces, yo represento este área, yo recibo muchas quejas y muchas preguntas sobre los recursos que necesitamos en este área, y especialmente las comunidades latinas. So I'm Councilmember Carlina Rivera, and we are on our way to having the best transit system in the world. I would argue that we are already there. And as was mentioned, as train and subway and transit services are being cut in other places, we're doing what we can to increase services. When you look at what is happening in this city in terms of how people are coming back to work, are utilizing public transit more than ever, whether it's tourism, whether it's retail, hospitality, medicine, these are major industries in New York that do not work on a typical 9 to 5 schedule. So if you are waiting in the train station, and this is a train line that is really the only train that many people in my district can walk to, those few minutes mean everything when you're tired, when you're hot, when you're cold. And so to know that the 6 and the 1 service, in addition to others, are going to receive more frequent service is really a game changer. If you have to get to your appointments, to see your family, to see your friends, Even this is how constituents get to the Met Museum. This is how they go shopping uptown in El Barrio or even in Soho. Some people even use this train to go see the Yankees. I would argue to take the 6 train and transfer for the 7 and support the Mets. But they'll go where they have to enjoy themselves in the greatest city in New York. And so we will bring opportunities to my constituents and more people to my district to enjoy the small businesses, to enjoy the culture, the attractions, like the spinning Alamo Cube right here in Astor Place. And this train station that was built over 100 years ago as part of one of the original subway lines, it has been in popular demand ever since 118 years ago. So we're going to keep working with the MTA to make sure that 6 train service runs every 6 minutes on the weekend, and we will continue to improve this transit system and make it the greatest anyone's ever seen. Thank you.
Demetrius?
So I'm sure you can tell we are ecstatic about this additional service. And that goes from folks who are Bed-Stuy residents who take the C to Pelham Bay Park residents who take the 6. Just excited for what this brings. Now customers who are riding the 1 and 6, as Rich and Jano talked about, have additional weekend service. And this is following up with this huge increase, this increase that we put in place for C service just days ago. I want to get into the intentionality of this. From the men and women in the Department of Subways who have been able to provide this service, I want to take the time to thank them for all of their efforts. It doesn't happen without them. They're the ones who actually get this service provided for our customers, and they do it with grace. Regarding hiring, we've hired 248 train operators and 220 conductors so far in 2023 alone. The increased staffing level means improved employee availability and the ability to reliably dispatch service across our system. Internally, we're also working diligently to hire additional trainers, to increase the number of groups in a class, and increasing the graduating class sizes for both train operators and conductors. Coupled with the larger class sizes, we plan on hiring additional supervisors to work alongside these new crews once they graduate to ensure that they have the support that they need to be successful. This type of investment for our employees benefits not only the subway system, but also our customers who receive that service. So ultimately, like the internal workings of the gears, it all ties into increased staff, increased service, increased customer satisfaction, which is our goal, the North Star. We heard it first. We are excited, we are ecstatic, we are delighted, and we thank you for riding with our system.
So you heard me talk before about how the reason that we're able to not only balance our budget, but increase service at a time when transit all over the United States is talking about cutting service and raising fares dramatically is because what the governor and the legislature did in this year's budget. Well, one of the principal advocates for that solution and always a fighter for transit is Assemblywoman Deborah Glick.
Thank you very much. It's always the first thing I have to do. Thank you so much. This is a great day and a great announcement. It's very exciting. The transit system takes you to a couple of hundred countries for $2.95, 90 cents, and it's really vital for everyone to get to work, to get to school, to get to our cultural institutions, to get to kids' sports opportunities. It makes this city so exciting and so vibrant. And I'm occasionally offered at an event, somebody will say, oh, I have a car down the street, and I say, that's okay, I have a car right on the corner. It's called the number 6 or the number 1, and it gets me there faster than any surface travel. So the subways are our lifeline, and they are so important and just so connected to every part of the city that it is exciting that we're here today to say that we're going to be able to improve and increase the service, because on weekends, people's lives have shifted since COVID, and so maybe people aren't doing as much on weekdays, but on the weekends, people want to get out, they want to get to the parks, they want to get to museums, they want to get to a show, they want to just get downtown or uptown, and this is going to make it easier, faster, and the experience for everyone is going to be so much better. So hats off to the MTA and New York City Transit for everything they do. The people who work there are committed to public service, and we're grateful to them. They kept the city moving during the pandemic, and we owe them a debt of gratitude for that. But this is going to be part of the reboot and the renewal of New York City post-COVID. So thank you so much.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, yes, we're going to have on-topic questions first. And Mr. Chairman, we're going to start with NBC4's Andrew Sif.
Come stand with me, elected official.
I've got, good afternoon. I have 3 questions.
Oh, Andrew.
Great. Question 1 is, how much money was dedicated to phase 1 and phase 2 of the increased subway service?
It was $35 million in the budget that the governor did with the legislature, the state legislature this year. Not only did they solve the MTA budget deficit for 5 years, but they added extra money, $35 million, so we could deliver extra, more frequent service. Good news.
So there may be New Yorkers who hear about this. You got 2 lines where you're adding 2 minutes, and you said in your remarks it doesn't seem like much. And you hear Rich Davey saying more to come in December and next year. So there may be New Yorkers who say, what's taking them so long?
All right, Rich, you want to take a crack at that?
No, for sure. Well, I think Demetrius mentioned it, right, is that it's a crew question, right? And so, to train a train operator, it takes 9 months. Conductors is, a couple of months. So we have to obviously make sure we have the right amount of crews available. So that's why we've been doing it sort of on a rolling basis, right? So more to come, as I said, in December and next year. That coincides with when our partners in labor pick their work, which is what they do on a regular basis. But that's the reason. And again, we're responding to our customers. It's nights and weekends in particular is what they're asking for, and that's what we've been focused on.
And my last question is, you all alluded to the weekend service are rocking the service. The weekends are great. Sometimes perception lags reality. You talked about that when it came to safety on the subways. If you talk to a New York rider right now, chances are they're not going to say weekend service is great. Can you address that perception and explain to folks how good it is?
So on the chances are, I would disagree, right? We talk to our customers, as you know, monthly and get information from our customers. And since, spring of last year to today, our subway service, the customers are saying now 6 in 10, almost we were getting close to 7 in 10 customers saying that they were satisfied or very satisfied with the service. What they're saying to us is they would ride more frequently if we had more frequent weekend service, for example, which is what we're responding to. I get that, we're not perfect. If we're running 85% service, that means we're missing the ball 15% of the time, and we're continuing to reach for that. But our customers are telling us that they've seen market improvements in New York City Transit over the last 16, 18 months.
Okay, thank you so much, President Davey. We have Natalie Dudridge here from CBS 2 with the next on-topic question.
Stay close.
Hi, good afternoon, I guess it is now. Just talking numbers, weekend numbers versus weekday numbers. I think it was last month there was a record post-pandemic. If you can just address what that was for weekend ridership.
May. I think we hit a weekend ridership in May. We'll get the exact date for you, but we did. We have seen ridership coming back more quickly on the weekends, which is why, again, with the legislature and the governor's support, we're adding more service on the weekends. But we are seeing a more quick, relative to weekday service, a quicker return in ridership.
I mean, just Natalie, for your question, we got routinely on the weekends, you have 80 and sometimes 90% of pre-COVID ridership. on the MTA. That says that riders, when New Yorkers, when they have somewhere they gotta go and they want to go, like, you know, to go to recreation, to go to a sports game, to go to Broadway, to go to parks, they're choosing transit. That's a good sign. Weekdays tends to linger around 70. You know, if apples to apples, we're probably closer to 80 because there's a little more fare evasion. But realistically, the weekends are kicking it. We're pushing 90 on some weekends, 90% pre-COVID.
All right, Mr. Chairman, we have Steve Nesson from Gotham is here with a question on topic.
Hello, guys, and Carlina. So you guys have known for a long time that weekend service is returning faster than weekday service. But have you adjusted weekend repair work and track work, to match that demand in service? Because, yeah, there's an increase in service, but lines are frequently out of service due to construction. And I have a second question.
Yeah, no. So I mean, that's exactly why we appointed Jose LaSalle as a weekend czar. I think my observation last year is there were multiple departments that were focused on their particulars within a weekend service, but there was no one person looking at the broad view. So Jose and his team working closely with the construction development folks, as you mentioned. So they're doing everything from, I will bore you probably, but looking at, how long our GOs are, for example. Can we shrink those? Can we shrink the area where the work is occurring? We just piloted a program to increase adjacent track speeds, right? Before the rule was 10 miles an hour. We've actually expanded that to 15 miles an hour to see if we can speed up safely more service. So your point's well taken, but we have a historic capital plan. This is an old system. As the councilman mentioned, this was opened in 1904. Sometimes it looks like that and it feels like that, so we've got a lot of work to do, so we have to balance both. But our on-time performance, weekend service has been the highest it's been in a year, again, because of the work that Jose and the C&D team are doing. We still have work to do, though.
And just to follow up on that, you mentioned the MTA was cooking the books in the past on their on-time performance. Would you care to elaborate?
That's probably an exaggeration.
Which metric?
He's from Boston.
Oh, wow. I guess we cooked the books there, too. Is that what he's saying? I don't know. There's a bit of an exaggeration, Steve, but what I meant is that we use our track circuitry now to measure on-time performance. I think 10-plus years ago it was a little more pencil and paper, and so probably a little easier to perhaps write down something that was on time that wasn't, but today it's more precise. So the data that you're all getting that we're reporting on is very precise.
Okay, I think we're winding up.
Thank you so much, President Davey. Okay, Steve, I'm going to ask you to move out here. I'm going to ask Christy to step up here. This is Christy Kalishian with WCBS News Radio 880.
Thank you for the introduction, Brett. Hi, just a quick question. Any particular reason why it's the 1 and the 6, and what could we look for in the next few months? You were saying December and the next few months later. What other lines?
Yeah, this is a staged process. I believe there are 6 separate lines, including the G, the C, the 1, the 6, and the M, and the N and the R. So all of those lines are getting expansions, but as was explained earlier, it's happening, they're being rolled out sequentially, having to do with the availability of conductors and train operators and equipment.
Okay, now we're going to go to off-topic questions. I believe.
You can stay or not.
Thank you guys so much.
Where they
yeah. Stand by. Okay, all right. All right, Christy Kalishian has another question, Mr. Chairman.
Hi, Christy.
Hi. Thank you so much. Just wanted to ask about apparently $5 million I'm hearing has been put into having workers inspect the East New York bus depot for fires.
Yeah.
Hearing that the sprinklers don't work. Is there any sort of plan to fix the sprinklers and any more explanation on that? And a second question, just any response to what's being investigated as a hate crime towards Asian women who were hit on the train by this teen girl. She was arrested, we're hearing. Just want to know any response just to that taking place.
You're talking about the hate crime, the family from Nevada who was subjected to some, are you talking about that or something else? Yeah. So what I said before is there's no place for hate on the MTA system. We have we track hate crimes, and we work very closely with the police to make sure they're aggressively investigated and they result in arrests. In this case, they've already resulted in 1 arrest, and we're going to push the law enforcement authorities and the judicial authorities to take aggressive position, because people in public space are not going to be subject to hatred. to resentment, to racism, to anti-Semitism as long as this team is running the MTA.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, Natalie Duddridge.
There was a separate question about the East New York bus depot. I think I'm going to ask Rich to deal with that one. Okay.
Yeah, so we have been looking for a solution, right? I mean, I think that the challenge is East New York is an old facility. What we have seen as we've gone through the engineering is that each time we think we find the leak for the fire suppression system, there's another leak further out, so we've been chasing it under the underground pipe further and further away from our facility, ultimately to the water source. So we have been working very closely with our engineering team to address that. In the meantime, yeah, we have to keep the facility open and safe. We've had a 24-hour fire watch, which is required by city code, and we had a press conference last week, which the TWU representative was there. We've been working very closely with the TWU as well. I think he said it perfectly that you can't put a price on safety. But as soon as we fix that fire suppression system, that fire watch will no longer be necessary. So we've been chasing this now for a couple of months. My hope is that we'll have at least a temporary fix on that system in weeks. But we've been chasing it for a bit. So again, my hope is we'll be able to fix it. And until we do, we'll have that fire watch in place. It's imperative that we keep that facility safe.
President Davey, thank you so much. Our next question is from CBS 2's Natalie Duddridge.
Yes, hi again. Just wondering if there's any update on the LIRR derailment.
The update is that amazing work got the whole Long Island Railroad system back to full function in a matter of days. But the cause of the derailment is still being investigated. That's where we are.
Okay.
All right, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, President Davey. Thank you, Shanifa, Jose LaSalle, Vice President Critchlow. Thank you all.